Welcome to today's market report. European stock markets are seen opening sharply lower on Friday with the news US President Donald Trump has tested positive for the coronavirus, weighing heavily on sentiment by greatly increased uncertainty around the November elections. DAX future contract in Germany traded 1.2% lower at 12,600. CAC dropped 1.4% at 4,700. FTSE fell 1.3% at 5,800. Earlier today, Trump confirmed via a tweet that he and his wife Melania had contracted the COVID-19 virus. The U.S. House of Representatives passed a $2.2 trillion Democrat-only fiscal stimulus package just before that. This bill, however, is extremely unlikely to pass through the Republican-dominated Senate, as sharp differences over the size and makeup of the package still exist, and time is running out before Congress adjourns. Most growth forecasts for the fourth quarter has been predicted on the idea that there would be another fiscal package to support the economy's recovery. It is reported that the U.S. stock futures extended losses after the news of Trump tests positive for COVID-19. S&P slid 1.21%, while Treasury yields also fell. The dollar, however, rose, particularly against the British pound and Australian dollars and New Zealand dollars, in the sign of risk aversion. MSCI was down 0.27%. Australia's S&P ASA fell 0.98%. as a decline in oil and copper prices weighed on the country's resources sector. In corporate news, Equinor ASA stock fell 0.5% after the Norwegian oil and gas firm outlined plans to cut its exploration staff by about 30% globally by 2023 to reduce costs as the pandemic hits the industry hard. Shares in many of the oil majors have slumped, with BP, Royal Dutch Shell and Repsol all hitting 52-week lows in early trading. By contrast, renewables specialist Orsted and wind turbine maker Siemens Gamesa hit new all-time highs. Rolls-Royce slumped 6.8% after the aero engine maker's £5 billion recapitalization plan, which revolves around a deeply discounted rights issue, struggled to gain acceptance. Consumer inflation data for the Eurozone headlines lead the European data slate on Friday, but most attention will be on the official US jobs report for a gauge on how the world's largest economy is recovering. Jobless claims edged lower again, but remain incredibly elevated as labour market strains continue. Incomes have also been dropping back, and spending growth is starting to slow as we see more evidence of a leveling off in the recovery. Oil prices weakened on Friday, continuing the sell-off from the previous session as concerns over what a resurgence in COVID-19 cases will do to the demand for crude, with the president's infection amplifying this concern just as production starts to rise. Crude future traded 2.4% lower at $37.80 a barrel. Brent contract fell 2.7% to $39.83 a barrel. Gold future fell 0.1% to $1,915.70 per ounce. In the FX market, GBP-USD pair rallied over 100 pips after daily swing lows and jumped to the 129.40 region during the early European session, albeit quickly retreated few pips thereafter. Following an early dip to the 128.35 region, the pair caught some aggressive bids in reaction to the news that the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson will hold talks with the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on Saturday. Given the limited progress in the final round of Brexit talks, Johnson and the EU chief will discuss how the two sides can get to an agreement. The cable pair moved back into the positive territory, though lacked any strong follow-through strength amid a modest pickup in the US dollar demand. The impasse over the next round of US fiscal stimulus measures dented investors' appetite for riskier assets. The already weaker sentiment deteriorated further after the US President Donald Trump was tested positive for COVID-19. Market participants now look forward to a key meeting between the EU's chief negotiator Michel Barnier and his British counterpart David Frost on Friday. The incoming headlines will influence expectations if talks can enter the so-called tunnel, something that would signal a deal is within touching distance, which in turn will play a key role in driving the sterling in the near term. Eurodollar extends the erratic performance in the last sessions, although it manages well to keep business above 117, the figure for the time being. Dollar index is trading at 93.797. Dollar yen fell 0.4% to 105.11. This is today's market news. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.